Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Alchemist's Codex, foundational teachings in energy and shadow integration. This is a self-paced course designed to teach you the fundamentals of energy work and guide you to address the core principles of true and inner alchemy. If you're ready to better understand your energy body, your unconscious patterns, you're ready to release and alchemize your trauma and pain and get to the root of certain challenges and obstacles. If you're ready to clear energetic distortions, you are in the right place. My name is Lauren on Earth, and I'm an Akashic record reader, quantum healer, shadow worker, and teacher of psychic development. And I act as this bridge between the higher and lower realms and the higher and lower self. And my main niche and strength as a healer and guide is my focus on the hidden, the unconscious, the suppressed, bringing light to aspects of ourselves that are often overlooked, the parts of ourselves from both our inner and outer world that we've neglected, we've deemed unlovable, unworthy, that others have deemed unlovable and unworthy. The place where we store our trauma, our pain, our ancestors' pain, what's too much to process in the moment, the energy that has been suppressed and dormant, stagnant for many lifetimes that we can still feel in the now. Shadow work is bringing unconscious patterns and behaviors and thoughts into conscious awareness. It's honoring and releasing suppressed emotions and addressing unresolved traumas, accepting all parts of ourselves, both the light and the shadow, to become our most authentic self. The challenge with shadow work is not only having to face these parts of ourselves where we're afraid to look or don't want to look due to shame or something else. It's not just about healing our emotional trauma, but also involves bringing to light what is lurking beneath the shadows. Because as we're learning, as we're becoming more conscious and aware, is that there are nefarious forces who kind of do want to keep us in this state of suffering. And we aren't the only ones living, or we aren't the only living beings who have made home here on Earth. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I've created this course for you to begin this work or continue if you're already in a process, to provide tools and recommendations for navigating the energy work, how to identify, process, alchemize, clear, integrate, how to protect yourself as you open up to both the spirit and shadow realms, whether it's your own emotion, trauma, or it's dark force material. So thank you for being here, for saying yes to yourself, for doing the inner work, for your strength, your courage and bravery to go to places within your own consciousness that many shy away from. This is truly the ultimate act of self-love. So thank you for choosing to do this safely and with pure intention, to learn the tools to protect yourself while you navigate the unknown, the hidden, the unconscious. There is an art to moving through the shadow, to healing. Shadow work is beautiful. It's hard to say that in the moment and to see that in the moment, or at least it was for me, because at times it can get ugly. But when looking back, you will see there is this beautiful, intelligent plan laid out ahead of you where everything is connected and everything will start to make so much sense. This intelligent plan that has been laid out and created by God and your soul that will lead you to freedom within, to liberation, to more joy in this human experience. And we simply just need to get out of our own way, to surrender to it, to trust it, and allow it to guide us. And I want to show you this image, this powerful representation of karma, trauma, and these limitations we've placed upon ourselves that have been placed upon us. And know that this is the beginning of setting yourself free from these chains, where we will begin to shine light on and the eternal light into these cracks and crevices, where you will learn how to be your own healer. The intention for this series is to teach you how to properly set up and open your space, how to drop into this work, to the energy work, as well as provide these tools for protection. And if you're anything like me and you're on this journey and you begin to uncover these hidden truths, whether that be within yourself or about our world, when you begin to dissect your trauma, trying to understand why you are the way you are, why you feel the way you do, where these anxieties, fears, this pain is coming from. And you start to realize something about this world is not right. It's a beautiful place, and there's love here, but this planet is also being abused, and so are we. And you start to wake up, and maybe you go down the rabbit hole a little bit, and you begin to realize that our government systems are flawed. And not only are they flawed, but it's possible that they were intentionally created to be flawed, to suppress, to oppress, and to control. And that's kind of a lot to take in, but you keep going because now you're on this spiritual journey, this awakening. And as you know, you can't just hop off and you can never go back, right? We're in this now. And so you start making the connection that your pain is actually tied to our society and systems, to our leaders, to the way this world is set up to run this lifestyle of the 9 to 5 and sitting alone at a desk office all day and barely having time with people you love, not getting enough sunlight, healthy food, exercise, working all day, but still not making enough to sustain your life, and you're stressed because you're always working, never have time for yourself, which is where the real healing takes place, when you have that time. And you realize most of this is tied to your pain. We're out of sync with the natural rhythms of our body, our soul, and our planet. And that these flawed systems are a huge reason as to why we keep repeating these karmic cycles. So then you begin the trauma work, and you learn how to feel your emotions, and that it's safe to feel your emotions because it's a very deep systemic subconscious programming of fear of emotion. Again, even though society tells you that it's weak, right? And you start learning to love yourself, even though society subconsciously, unconsciously, and consciously tells you that you shouldn't. You're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, skinny enough, you're not good enough. And then it hits you even deeper that, yeah, this place is kind of grim. Why don't we all love each other and ourselves? Why is it so hard to do that? And why is it so hard to feel God? Why are the leaders of this planet telling us we shouldn't love? Why don't they love? And when you isolate that thought alone, you have to accept that there is darkness here, and you need to see it for what it is in order to heal. And so then you start connecting to the stars, and you learn that humans are not the only beings to exist like we've been taught, and that our history is actually this curated story, their story, not our truth as humans. And with these beings that you're connecting with, some of them are benevolent and nice, and some of them are not. And maybe you learn that some of them are not so nice the hard way, where you experience a psychic attack or a betrayal. And then you realize, oh, I've kind of been under attack, if you want to call it that, my whole life, although maybe more subtly or subconsciously. And you realize this attack is from the matrix, the system, whether you believe in otherworldly beings or not. And so you begin to connect deeper with these benevolent beings and are shown their world and how they live. And you realize so many civilizations out there are at least more in unity with each other than we are. They love and support each other. They don't have disease and homelessness and illness in the same way that we do. And it makes you realize that there has to be another way. If they're doing it, why aren't we? We have intelligence. We're just not using it to the best of our ability, or it's being used in the wrong way. And as most of you probably already know, like both heaven and hell do exist here. So that spins you into an even deeper awakening where you learn more about these different beings and you come across the reptilians, the Anunnaki, the fallen angels, the Greys, and you're like, that's interesting. And then you find yourself looking at some conspiracy theories and you're noticing people are making connections between these dark groups and our current world leaders. And you have had personal experiences with these dark groups. And so it just makes a lot of sense. And by this point, you've already formed a relationship to your higher self, to your spirit team, to God. And I mean the real one true God, not the gods with a little g, right? Because there is only one, but many who use their name. And you're intuitive, you receive messages at this point, and so you just know in your soul there's truth to this. And you try to separate yourself from it, and you realize it's not, or it's a lot harder than it sounds. And that's because they don't want you to go anywhere. They want to keep you under their control. That's the matrix. It's not easy to break free from. They don't care whether you like it or not. And you begin to realize it's not just a few chains weighing you down, but many and many layers of them. Because, well, one chain would be too easy. So you accept the truth that they've been oppressing you for quite a while. You've been pretty unconsciously walking through life over the last several thousand years, if not longer, several incarnations where they took advantage of that. And well, they created the reality in the system to take advantage of that because it made us easier to control. And then you start learning about mind control and the artificial intelligence because you're trying to shift your energy. You're trying to heal. You're trying to work through the unprocessed emotion, the ancestral trauma, the childhood trauma, the past life trauma, but there's this other energy present as well. And it feels wicked. It feels dark. And you keep doing the inner work. And you're being shown these energies and technologies that you didn't even know existed. And these energies are an intelligence, but used to harm and making it harder to keep moving through the trauma and understand your patterns. And for some people, it even confuses them so much that they wind up moving even farther away from their true self. But again, that's the intention. So then, you learn about entity attachments and how we really are not fully sovereign beings. We want to be, we're working toward that, but in this moment, we're not. And it's a journey to reclaim our energy and sometimes feels like a battle. And that so much of our truth is hidden. And sometimes these blocks are so thick, so dense that one, they're hard to get to, hard to move, and even harder to identify. And so you realize, again, another layer of it, just how deep this system and the inorganic matrix runs within your own system. It's not just outside, it's within. And for me, at least, there's so much more to this story, but maybe up until this point, you've resonated with it and it sounds kind of like your own chain of events in a way, or you might be like, what did I just sign up for? And that's okay too. I'll reach this point eventually. And it's truly the greatest thing you will ever do. So don't worry. If you don't know too much about dark forces, this again is a foundational class with advanced practices because we are working with high alchemy. But if you want to keep working with me, we will get there, whether you're dealing with something like this or simply just want to learn how to be in touch with yourself, your emotions, learn how to start moving this energy. You're in the right place. Many of you might already know me, you've worked with me before, but for those who don't, I'll share a little background on how I'm qualified to teach these topics, how I learned how to do this. And obviously, you heard a little bit of the story just now, but I've been developing my psychic abilities since 2016. I've been reading the Akashic Records and doing energy work since 2018. In 2019, I went to see an Akashic reader about my autoimmune disease because I thought I was having a flare up and I just couldn't understand what I did to trigger it. And she told me, no, it's not a flare up, it's a psychic attack. And basically, a nefarious entity is attached to you. And so she cleared it and said that I need to learn how to do this on my own, that this is my path working within the realms and the battle of light and dark. And that was a lot for me. I left and cried because I wanted nothing to do with the dark, right? I was afraid of it. It followed me and consumed me my whole life. And I didn't put that together, but I did not accept my path at that time. And over that next year was met with more hardship, more stagnancy, more anger because I was not in alignment. I was avoiding the shadow and therefore not allowing myself to progress in my healing journey. So a year later, I'm forced to take this more seriously due to more psychic attacks. And I took my first class learning psychic protection tools, how to, remove smaller energetic parasites, implants, low vibrational entities, a few other things. And that just spun me into, you guys know me now. And I've been learning how to protect myself ever since. And I realized that as I evolve and pass my initiations, my protection has to evolve as well. And it's not just that my protection has to evolve, but so did all of my other tools, my gifts, my shielding, my auric field, the barrier, right, that protects me from the physical and astral worlds. So I eventually learned about quantum architecture and that I am a quantum architect. And what that basically means is I can shape and reshape the structure of reality through thought, frequency, intention, and code. Our energy body is an architectural structure. And this architecture by the system has been infiltrated, torn, worn down, fractured, but it still hums with the echoes of its original blueprint waiting renewal. So I began learning how to restore that architecture, how to do that through quantum code. And I started to build out these very complex shields, these containers, these grids, and also work on the blueprint, right? Our energetic structure that are meant to support us as we heal, as we do the work to repair our own blueprint, our own auric field over time through the shadow work, looking at our wounds and so on. And I also underwent a series of very violent attacks of dark sorcery, witchcraft, black magic, which is a huge blessing looking back because it gave me the tools and experiences needed to be good at what I do. I've seen it all, not it all, but I've seen a lot through that 5-year process that I went through. And so I learned that I'm here to expose, to seek truth, to bring light to darkness. And the very thing I cried about the first time I heard it 8 years ago to now standing in my power and sharing my knowledge. I'm here to shine light on what is lacking integrity, transparency, authenticity, and help to restore that energetic blueprint back to a state of harmony. So if you want to learn more about my story, I have some podcast episodes that I'll link below. But for now, that's it in a nutshell. I've essentially traversed the underworld and survived. And on the other side, feeling more myself and closer to God than ever before. So I'm so excited to share my methods and this knowledge and these tools that have kept me safe and given me this gift of new life. In this series, we're going to start by learning how to open container. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.